What's up, everyone? It's PK. What was supposed to be this incredible episode for everybody ended up being a nightmare for us. After stopping the recording, Phil's audio was corrupted and lost. After attempts to get it back failed, we decided to just roll with it and call this episode Conversations with PK. We apologize for this massive inconvenience and really hope we won't have any more issues going forward. After 200 plus episodes, we were bound to have something go wrong. So once again, we fully apologize for this massive inconvenience, not just for you, but for us. And we hope you enjoy PK, me, pretty much talking to himself. What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Friday, March 17th, 2023. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host, Phil. Phil, I'm starting off hot here. I'm doing PK's Hot Corners to start because currently it is in the 50s and it's raining. I would rather have and rather deal with 5 degrees and it being snow than 50 and rain. And that might just be because I currently have 3 dogs and the backyard's underwater and it's a mud pit, but that's my position on it and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, I mean, when we're recording, it's like 35, 36, 37, something like that, and it's a mud pit. But that's just because of the snow melting. When you add rain on top of it, and my backyard doesn't have the best drainage. I've been trying to work on it, but I'm moving in 3 years, so I don't want to do too much work to the backyard and stress myself too much. But yeah, 3 dogs, especially when they want to play nonstop because it's nice weather and they've been cooped up in the snow and the cold and they're running around and they're a different dog. The next house is definitely going to have a mud room with a designed dog bath to help with these situations. But currently I just have beach towels and normal towels and they're draped over top of the fence, and before they come in the side they have to be patted down for a good 5 minutes until they can go in and outside. So I absolutely dread March, April, May when the snow melts and the rain comes and it's just mud pits everywhere. Or like, have you ever been to like a quarry or something like that where the trucks go through where it's got like rinse cycles for their tires? I need one of those where the dogs just go on a conveyor belt and they rinse cycle before they go in, so I don't have to do anything. Exactly, that's what I need. That maybe I'll start that. So if you support this endeavor and want to contribute to my GoFundMe of portable dog car wash, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Buffalo Sports Collective and on Twitter at Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com and check for the time breakdowns in the description of the show. We have 3 segments to go over. We'll start with the Buffalo Sabres. It was a high and it was a low. Monday was the high versus the Leafs. They won 4-3, comeback victory. Tuck scored 2 back to the lineup. Quinn and Cousins had the other ones. Anderson 25 of 28 saves. Shots in the low category, 29-28 in favor of the Sabres. And then the down part, Wednesday versus the Capitals. They lost in a shootout, 5-4. Washington had the comeback victory in this one. Lyubushkin, Peterka, Jost, and Girgensons had the goals. UPL, 35 of 39 save. Shots were 39-27 in favor of Washington. Their record sits 33, 28, and 6. Yeah, you saw the absence when he was out, the much-needed rejuvenation and the influx of energy when he got reinserted into this. And like you said to start, they don't have the depth to counteract and be able to adjust to missing players that are top contributors to the team. And when he was out, it definitely hurt the team and you saw them struggle a bit. So him coming back in and you see them, rattle off and win in an upset victory over the Leafs, not just that, but come back from a 2-0 deficit early in the second. It was also nice to see them after the Saturday victory or loss in overtime versus the Rangers, and the game before that they get blown out versus Dallas, that this team can still step up and play very nicely, especially when Samuelson's gone too. So that was also a nice boost to see them get a win when their win-loss record when he's not in the lineup is not that great. And I think it gave not just the team a bit more life, but the fan base. I mean, I saw that win and I'm like, okay, they're still alive somehow, Phil. I don't understand how they're still alive, but with the win here, if they rattle off some wins, they can get right back into this because they're they were 6 points behind the New York Islanders with 3 games in hand, and they have a matchup coming up against them. So you were right back in it. But then I think we can transition to the Capital game where they started off hot. It was great. They held a 3-1 lead at one point, a 2-0 lead at one point, a 4-2 lead with 14 to play. And then it just all went down the drain, and you could kind of see their inexperience in a team that was hungry in Washington that tried to get a victory as well, and it just came unraveled. Yeah, their penalty kill is just absolutely killing them, and no pun intended there. It's just, their first period, it was up and down. They started great, they got hot, then they kind of went into a shell of themselves and were in their own zone a lot, trying to, get possession back. And then the end of it was great. The effort by Middlestad, who's somehow magically, remember when he was getting drafted and he couldn't do a pull-up? Now teams can't get the puck off his stick. He's come such a long way. And I think it's because not only is he growing into his big boy body, he's also, fully healthy for the first time in a couple of years. So it's nice to see. But that effort from him to beat the defender and get the puck over to Jost, and Jost rips it home. It was a great end to the first period. Second period, it was pretty much the same, up and down, but minus the goals. Then the third period happened, and you could just feel it when you're watching it that Washington has them on the ropes and they're just waiting for it. I mean, the second goal UPL should have had. I mean, it was it hit him in the chest. You got to make that save. There's no excuse about it. Third one, it was a great tip by Ovechkin between his legs. You just couldn't do anything about that. The fourth one is on the penalty kill. I don't know what Greenway was doing, where it was more like he was reaching with his big frame than moving his feet. And that's not just on him. It was the whole penalty kill just stunk. And then it was the phantom call. They dominated possession in overtime, Phil. They had like the puck for the first 3 minutes. They were going in and out of the zone. Washington couldn't get the puck. And then it just seemed if it was going to a shootout, they were going to lose because Washington has some of the world-class penalty shootout players. And that first one, my God, it was like, I saw people putting it on Twitter. It was like when you're playing eShell on NHL and your controller dies, where he was just like, he was skating without the puck, and then you get, turn the controller back on just in time to score. It felt like they were destined to lose this game once, Washington scored that third goal. It was just, you were waiting for that fourth one to happen, and it ended up happening. Yeah, so we'll go over a BSC update here. You would think 3 or 4 would be good, but like you said, when it's a letdown game like that, it kind of bums you out. But what doesn't bum me out is my lead. 2031.55 to 1794.72. I'm slowly approaching that 300 lead once again. I scored 18.5. You scored 14.5. Phil, are you making any changes to your Buffalo Sabres team, which currently stands at Thompson, Skinner, Middlestad, Power, Yoki, and I have Tuck, Cousins, Quinn, Darlene, and Clegg. That's fair, even though it's going to be a new season then. But I'm making a change. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You're waving the white flag already before even the Bisons kick off. But I am going to pull Clegg out of the lineup. For some reason, they like to keep Bryson in it over Clegg. That's another confusing one. So I'm going to drop Clegg and add Stillman. I'm not going to add Bryson because Bryson, the Rice man, he's having a rough go of it. And they continue to give him top pairing lines and minutes. I don't get it, but I'm going to get Stillman because he got an assist the other day. I know Lyubushkin scored, but he just tied a career high in goals with 2. So I'm going to stick with Stillman and hope he gets some block shots, hits, and maybe chip in a few assists. But Phil, we'll go over the wild card watch now. I think probably next show I can eliminate Pittsburgh from this one because they got 67 games played, 78 points. They can max out at 108 points. They are the clear number 1 seed in the wild card right now. They hold their own destiny in their hands. Second one is New York Islanders, 70 games played, 78 points. They face the Sharks on Saturday. They have 24 possible points left, 102 max. Third place is Florida, 67 games played, 73 points. They got Montreal on Thursday when we're recording, and Saturday, New Jersey. Washington, 69 games played, 73 points. Friday versus the Blues, Sunday versus Minnesota. Buffalo is in 5th, 67 games played, 72 points. Ottawa's in 6th, 67 games played, 70 points. Thursday, Colorado. Saturday, Toronto. Hopefully Ottawa can fall back even further. And then Detroit is sitting in 7th, 67 games played, 69 points. They face Colorado on Saturday. Yeah, rest of the schedule. They got 15 games left, 7 home, 8 away. The 8 away is so much nicer because they can't win at home whatsoever. They got 9 must wins. They got 2 versus Philly, one of them coming up tonight. They got Nashville, New York Islanders, Montreal, Florida, Detroit, Ottawa, and Columbus. Those 9 are must wins. You need to get 2 points out of that. You need to win in regulation, ideally. There's 6 other games: Boston, New Jersey twice, Rangers twice, and Carolina. You need to chip away and get some points in that because, yes, you have a max possibility of points at 102, but the chances of you running off 15 straight games of 30 points left on the table, it's not going to happen. You need to get around, 95-ish points, I would assume, to get in. And that is 23 points away. You got 9 must wins. That gets you to 18. You need to find 5 points in there to try to chip away at this, because currently right now you got to leapfrog 3 teams to get in. And Florida's sitting right there 1 point ahead of you in the same amount of games played. New York Islanders 3 games past that, and Washington, you got 2 games in hand over them. So it's possible, but games like the one versus Washington can't happen. That extra point would have been massive, especially with New York Islanders winning on that Wednesday night out in Anaheim. It is true, but you had it within your reach. But that was, hopefully it doesn't come back to haunt them. I think they're going to end up being 2 to 4 points out. And if you would have told me that before the season started, I would have loved it. It's just, in the moment it sucks. But right. Just don't tumble out of it now. Just don't go 2-13 down the stretch. Have a winning record down the stretch and give yourself a chance. Yeah, please. But on Friday, they face Philly. So tonight, Philly, and then Boston, 1 o'clock game on Sunday. You really need to get 3 of 4 there. Hopefully even 4 of 4. You can't lose to Philly whatsoever, though. But we'll move on to our next segment. Phil, are you all dressed up here? Okay, perfect. That works for me. I'm layered up because I had to go get a bunch of gas samples today at work, so I haven't changed yet. And I know I've been home for a while, but I was also doing work in the basement. So we are officially the end of the Buffalo Beauts season. We concluded their season, and they concluded their season on the last show. They finished 5-16-3. 18 points, 7th in the standings, which is dead last. 50 goals scored, 95 goals against. Phil, they did lead the league in PIMS, though, 238 penalty minutes. They finished 13 of 101 on the power play, which is good for 6th at about 13%. Penalty kill, they finished 3rd, 14. They allowed 14 on the penalty kill, 88 opportunities, 84%, which was good for 3rd. And then they did give up 6 short-handed goals, which not ideal. Not ideal whatsoever, though. Phil, it is awards time. It is our BSC Beauts award show. Are we ready to dive into and hand out some prestigious awards for the Buffalo Beauts? Sticking with tradition. So we will, and this is the first season we've covered them, so this is the first BSC Beauts award show. For those that don't know, it's the most coveted award in sports and entertainment history, and you definitely want to be checking your mailboxes because we send it out, and it's players die for this award. They want it so bad, Phil. I don't really know why, but it's a very popular thing. So our first award is for the MVP. We have some nominees for the team: Michaela Grant-Mentis, Claudia Kepler, Samantha Ridgewell, and Dominique Kramer. I think all of them in some way or another are deserving of this award. We have the most points on the team up in this one, the most goals, the one with the highest save percentage and the lowest goals against, and the leader of the team and the top point producer on the defensive end. I think we got some very stiff competition for this award. Yeah, 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 points, and 75 shots. She had a 45% win percentage at the dot, 15 block shots, 2 power play goals, 1 shorthanded. She led the team in shots and assists and was second in goals and accounted for 42% of the team scoring. It's pretty stinking good. in her return back to a Buffalo Beauts uniform after being the MVP of the league last year for the Toronto Six. I think she's going to just continue to grow in the role. And I think hopefully, fingers crossed, she's back with the team next year, that they will be able to continue to build around her and bring in the players that she excels with. So, Phil, we'll move on to the next award. It is the Offensive Player of the Year. We have some nominees. Once again, MGM, Claudia Kepler, Courtney Maud, Summer Rae Dobson, and Emma Newtonen, all very deserving of this award as well. I think if you look at this, I think you can change the description of it a bit compared to MVP. I think MVP is the overall game, and I think Offensive Player of the Year is just more of what you were able to accomplish in the offensive zone. Yes, 10 goals, 6 assists, 16 points, 51 shots, 2 power play goals, led the team in goal scoring, and I think she came on later, and she would get those big goals where it was either the first goal of the game or the tying goal quite a bit, and to lead a team that struggled to score and reach double digits, I mean, she accounted for 20% of the goals that were scored for this team. It's pretty impressive, and I think she had a great season, and she is one of the ones that will be back next year because she signed a 2-year deal last year. So, Phil, we will move on to the next award. We are flying through these. Defender of the Year. This obviously goes to the defenders. So we will nominate here Dominique Kramer, Whitney Dove, Antonia Matska, and Jessica Healy. All three very well-deserving players, and 2 of them actually made the All-Star team. I think when you look at it, it's pretty, I wouldn't say obvious of who won it, but I think there's a clear top tier of who it is, and then the rest of them are right below it in tier 2, and that's no shot at them whatsoever. It's just, I think there's one that is deserving of this award, not just because of what she did in the defensive end, but also more of the leadership role she had for the team as well. Yeah, I don't think we ever announced it. Dominique Kramer, that's the award winner. 1 goal, 9 assists, 10 points on 3 shots, 23 games played because she was suspended that one. Like you said, led the defenders in points, led the team in blocked shots, was out there in every single situation, top power play, top penalty kill, rarely ever came off the ice, led the top, unit and played with different players up on the first defensive pairing. I think not only is she the captain of the team and orchestrated what was a struggling Buffalo Beauts team, but I think that is when your leadership comes in the most, is when your team is struggling. And I don't remember a game really where the team quit whatsoever. I think they had better games than others, and I think they struggled in times to get the puck out of their own zone and the little things and the passing out of their own zone. But I don't think the team ever quit. And I think that's something that is built into the leadership and how the team is built around certain players. And I think if anything, they can hang their head on that, is this is a team that really could have went out and quit, and they didn't. So, Phil, our next award is Goalie of the Year. And this one was a bit tougher to pick a winner because they went through 4 injuries back there, hurt them a lot, and players had to step up. I mean, new players signed deals to come in this because they were so hurt in between the pipes. But I think we narrowed it down, and I wish we could give co-MVP or co-award winners to this, but I think we would be doing a disservice to the BSC award show if we did that. So I have one that I believe just barely beat out the other. Congrats to her. I mean, signed late in the season and played amazing. I think I remember in listening to an interview with Dominique Kramer earlier in the offseason here, like a couple days ago, if I want to say that. It was her basically going to management and saying, hey, we need somebody between the pipes, go out and get Sam Ridgewell. And they did that, and I think they rewarded her, and she rewarded them great. And she actually played more minutes than Hoffman and let in 9 less goals. She only let in 14 goals in the 6 games she went in and played. Second most minutes played, just behind Bernston. Not just behind Bernston, it was almost double, but I think she also had the best numbers on the team. And I think Bernston stepped into that role and played very well in a spot where she was not supposed to be the go-to goaltender. Savoy was supposed to be coming in there and doing that, and she got hurt before the season even started. She came in with an injury, then played, I think, 2 or 3 games, and then also got hurt as well. So I think Bernston stepped into the role, and I think she deserves part of this award. So if Ridgewell wants to, chip away at our award and give her a piece, I think it's well deserved. But here at the BSC, we have to pick one, Phil, and we did just that. So we'll move on to the next award here, Rookie of the Year. There were a lot of rookies on this team, and we have to nominate 3 of them: Courtney Maud, Summer Rae Dobson, and Emma Newtonen. I think all of them came on late. I think they took a bit of time to find their role on the team, but when they did, they excelled. Yeah, 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points, 38 shots, tied Dobson for rookie scoring, but led all rookies in goals, tied for 3rd on the team in points and 3rd on the team in goals, led the team with 3 power play goals and 1 shorthanded goal, and finished the season on a 2-game goal streak. And I think that just also indicates how much she was coming alive being paired next to MGM. And I know when you're on the same line as MGM, it definitely helps, but you also still have to put the puck in the net. And I think if she will resign and if they offer her a deal to come back, I think it will be another huge building stone. And I think she's a long-term piece for getting the Buffalo Beauts back into contention and back into the playoffs for that Isabel Cup. And I think if you're able to re-sign her along with a few other names, like we said, there's only 4 players that are guaranteed coming back unless something weird happens for their deals. A lot of them need re-upping, and I think she is one of them that I would like to see back in the baby blue. What'd you call their uniforms? I would like to see her back in the baby blue. There we go. So we'll move on to the next award. This one is always a bit of a head scratcher for everybody because we call it the Give Me More. And the best way I can interpret it is it could either be somebody that had a letdown season that you need more out of next year, or it's somebody that you believe there's more in them and you just want to see more of them. And you think that there's untapped potential there. So the nominees are Emma Newtonen, Maddie Nichols, Cassidy McPherson, and Cassidy Savoy. And I think all 4 of them are on the list for different reasons. And I think there is one that is clear-cut above the rest for needing and wanting to see a bit more of that untapped potential. And a little hint, she came on stronger towards the end of the year, similar to a lot of these players, but we got the reasons why. She was kind of finally getting healthy full time, and you kind of saw that. So if you've been keeping track of the Beauts, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points. She did come on strong, 56 shots. She was only shooting at like a 7% clip, and that's going to go up as she gets more and more comfortable in this league. Hopefully that's with Buffalo, but with her size and her skating ability and her stick handling and the shot she has, she can be, and I expect her to be, a dominant force in this league. I can actually see her being a future MVP in this league. And I'm not just talking her up because she plays for the Buffalo Beauts and because we want to see more, but because I actually think there's the potential for her to do that. And I think she has that rare ability of that size and the speed, and her skating is just unbelievable. She just outpowers the other players and is able to get to the net and do things that other players simply can't do. And I think that is a huge reason why I think she can lead the league in scoring. She can lead the lead in points and assists. And I think going into next year, she's back in the Buffalo Beauts uniform. I think she needs to be a bit more selfish than she was earlier in the year. I think she got that way towards the end, calling her own shots and taking a few more extra shots. I think in the beginning, she was looking to set up her teammates a bit more than she probably should have. I think she needs to be a little bit more selfish and use her bigger size to, outbody some players and get a little bit more physical towards getting to the net and get those dirty goals. And I think the future is, the sky's the limit for her. And I really think that she is a future MVP in this league. And again, hopefully it's with the Beauts. But Phil, we'll move on to our next award here. 2 more left. Moment of the Year. There were a few nominees, and I know it was a bit difficult because of the season they struggled with. But the first one up for the win here is the 5-4 8-round shootout loss that you and I were at the opening game of the Beauts season. It might not have gone their way, but man, was it exciting. The 3-game winning streak, including the sweep of Minnesota and the 7-5 loss to Boston. It was 12 goals scored. It was just a fun game to watch. Those are the 3 nominees for the moment of the year for the Buffalo Beauts. Yeah, I'm going to go with the 3-game winning streak. It's just because they gave me hope. I mean, I spent an hour trying to find ways for them to still be in the playoff race and what they needed to do. And with what I found out, yes, there was a lot of things that needed to happen, but they were all realistic. And then they went and they won versus Montreal. I'm like, oh my God, it's still alive. They can still do it. And then they lost on Sunday in that third period to Montreal, and then it just all fell apart. But it was the best the team was playing all year long. You saw that. You saw what they were building up to and what they were capable of, and they finally put it all together and got that 3-game winning streak. And that is something that I won't forget because I put in so much time finding them a way to get into the playoffs, and then it all shattered the following weekend, as it often does. But we'll move on to our final one here, and I think we're probably going to differ on this one as well. Maybe we'll agree. I don't know. But player to cover. It's our favorite player that we were able to cover through the 24 games, the whole season. And the nominees are Emma Newton, Summer Rae Dobson, Dominique Kremer, and Michaela Grant-Mentis. 3 winners already, so that means I'm going to jump ahead of you, Phil. I'm going Summer Rae Dobson. I said this from the get-go after the game and weekend 1 that I loved her play style. 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points, 39 shots, was tied with Maud for the most points for the rookies, 3rd on the team in scoring, 3rd on the team with 7 assists, 2nd on the team with 24 penalty minutes, 39% win percentage from the dot, out there on the top penalty kill, had 2 power play goals, had 2 power play goals. She's that chippy player with the attitude that you want to play with and you hate playing against. Players want to play with players like Dobson, who aren't afraid to get in and mix it up and have their teammates' backs. And you saw that at the end of the game on Sunday, where something was happening. She wanted to get involved. She's that chippy player that gets under other teams' skins, and that's exactly what you need. And one of the 4 that will be back next year because she still has 1 more year on her 2-year deal. I am very excited to see what she does in her sophomore year. So, Phil, that will conclude the BSC award show for the Buffalo Beauts. That closes out our 2022-2023 season for them. It was a great season. I think we put a nice bow on it last episode, so I don't want to really talk about it too much more because I thought we ended it on a nice tone. But I'm excited to see what the offseason brings for this team, and congratulations to all the award winners. Well deserved, and your awards are in the mail. Be checking your mailbox daily. So, Phil, we'll move on to our final segment here. Big weekend for the Buffalo Bandits, but before we dive into the game and the trade deadline that is quickly approaching, congrats to Johnny Tavares. He is the new head coach of the Six Nation Chiefs. I believe he was an assistant coach with them for a while, but to be head coach of 2 different teams at the same time, I know they run differently than the Buffalo Bandits, but huge accomplishments, and I think it just reinforces what an absolute wizard he is in the sport, whether he's playing it or coaching it. So we have a trade deadline. I don't know where the rumor started, but it was in both of the Facebook chats that, hey, the trade deadline is on Thursday. What do you want to see him do? And everybody was like, I don't think the trade deadline is there. It's Monday. And that just reinforces the league has to do a bit better job of advertising this kind of stuff. It should be well known to everybody when the trade deadline is. Phil, I know the Buffalo Bandits are known to make a lot of trades, and I know Steve Dietrich is always working the phones and always trying to find ways to improve the team. So with that said, if you were the GM of the Buffalo Bandits and the trade deadline is Monday at 3 o'clock, are you making any changes to this team? Yeah, it was questionable, so he should be back. It's not like he was ruled right out. Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. It all comes down to the health and when you can get Brandon Robinson back and if he is back. And I think if he's not back by playoffs, you need to be looking at what role he brought to this team, which was that big body to get, Kluch, who really didn't play much with him, and Byrne open to give them the opportunities and to set those picks. And he had that, the unappreciated role, that underdog role that guy that doesn't stuff the box score, even though he did a bit in this needed time with Kluch and Burnout. But if he's gone, I think they need to address that position. But I think I did see him without crutches last game. I think he saw him in the tunnel and he was walking, I think still with a boot, but I didn't see crutches. Maybe he just hiding them so the fans didn't see it. But they still need to make room for Chase Frazier if he's back this week. Yeah. Right, that's the way of lacrosse. But like I was saying, they still need to make room for Chase Frazier if he is coming back on Saturday, which I would kind of assume he is because, I mean, maybe not because he was listed doubtful at where everybody else was listed questionable. So I don't know, but the likely move would be just to send Sam LaRue back to the practice squad. That frees up that spot. That gets them back to 21 guys because currently they got 22, but Frazier's in that evaluation period that they call it. But if Bomberry's back and Martin's back, that's when the cluster begins because they have one practice squad spot open with Vason. That's right? Vason gone. So I don't think they're going to send Dylan Robinson down. He's been playing too spectacular. I think they put him on the active roster and remove his practice squad spot. So that frees up 2. Do they release and re-sign Dalton Sullivan and Carter McKenzie down there? Do they just put Tehoka Nanakok on the IR because he was a injury last week where he didn't play? I don't think currently they need to make any trades to free up room, but it all comes down to, like we were talking about, Brandon Robinson, Justin Robinson. Are either of them coming back? Is Frankie Brown coming back? He's still on the PUP list. Greg Harnett, Doug Buchan, Maya, and Toulette, they're all on the holdout list. If any of those 7 players are able to come back, that's when you got to actually look to make moves for the future. And I believe it was Dietrich that was saying, hey, if we're going to be making any moves, it's going to be for futures. And I think that's including shipping somebody out like they did with Mini Chiello, where they got a best of 6 pick between Philly and Buffalo in 2025, I think it is. I think that's the really only move you're going to see. Like you said, the trade acquisitions were getting all these players back healthy. So I don't think at the moment they need to create any space. And how the season's going, fingers crossed, knock on wood, knock on everything, that there's no more injuries. But with the way the season's going, there's probably going to be another injury. So you don't really have to finagle much right now because you have those practice squad spots open where you just have to release somebody and send them down and re-sign them into the practice squad. But there are some moves that need to be made, but I don't think currently there are any desperate trades that need to be made. I think the team that they have currently, once healthy, is a title contending team. I know. Justin Gutterding. Oh, okay. I thought that's where you're going. Yeah, and we have a game to even talk about on Saturday, so all this stuff might change pending not just the result, but what happens in that game as hopefully everybody comes out of that healthy. But we'll dive into the game now and we'll readdress and reevaluate the trade deadline on our Monday show because it is Monday, the 20th at 3 p.m. is the trade deadline. So, Phil, we have a revenge game to talk about. The 10-2 Buffalo Bandits play host to the defending champions coming in at 5-6. It's been a tale of different stories for both these teams. Buffalo coming in at the tied for the 4th most goals averaging for the NLL. Mammoth second lowest at 9.82. They're under 10 goals a game, and we'll dive into exactly why. Goals against, Buffalo is 3rd best, Mammoth 9th best. It's just these teams are playing differently, and one of them is handling their situation better than the other. They have no players in the top 39 in assists. They have no players in the top 23 in goals scored. They have no players in the top 34 in points scored, and I think that's a big reason why their goals for are under 10. Lee was doubtful last week. Dutch and McLaughlin were both questionable last week, so we have no idea what this team's going to look like. They're mirror images of what's going on with Colorado as what's going on with Buffalo. It's just Buffalo was able to withstand the injuries, and Colorado has not. Yeah, we'll go over some of the forwards, and every single forward has missed at least one game. Eli McLaughlin's leading the team with 45 points, 14 points on the power play. Connor Robinson is still there, 20 goals scored. He's still rocking it and rolling it from the championship last year. Chris Wardell is the depth scorer for that side. And then for the righties, Evan Downey, Brett McIntyre. Zed Williams is still there. He's got 20 goals on the year, 10 power play assists, or I'm sorry, 10 power play points. And then Dutch is also out there, 33 points. Ryan Lee, he's only played in one game, had 10 points. Brett Draper and Tyson Gibson, they're both on the IR. All three of those guys are righties. So like you said, what does this forward group look like? They still have great players there. And like you said, this Buffalo Bandits defense was built to stop guys like Zed Williams, who took over in the finals last year. So it'll be interesting because Zed Williams, like I just said, Zed Williams is the reason the Buffalo Bandits defense is built like that. So you're going to get a test of what the playoffs might look like for your defense going up against players like that. So for me, that's what I'm going to be looking for, is how does the defense hold up against a team that pretty much just wiped the floor with you and did whatever they wanted to on the defensive end and the offensive end versus you in the championship last year? What has changed, and can you adjust to what happened last year? You built your team a certain way for a game like this, so let's see it. Yeah, for the defensive game, like you were just talking about, this is definitely a game where you're going to miss the Brandon Robinson presence, but hopefully a guy like Brad McCulley can step up. Hopefully a guy like, if Nate Kay's in the lineup, he can step up as well because he's a bigger body. If Tehoka's in there, he can get in and low too. So it'll be, I'm very excited to see what this offense does against the defense that was able to shut them down last year. And Dylan Kinnear, he's in the transition game, 19 points. Robert Hope, the guy that I was really hoping for, again, pun not intended, was coming to Buffalo, but I knew that wasn't going to happen as the captain of Colorado. 6 goals, 94 loose balls, 9 caused turnovers, 10 block shots on the year. He has not slowed down whatsoever. Warren Jeffrey's still out there, 11 caused turnovers. The one player that is missing that was there last year is Joey Capito. He is on the IR. He won't be back, so you don't have to worry about him. But in the faceoff dot, it doesn't get any easier for Max Adler. Tim Edwards is in there, 59% faceoff win percentage, 95 loose balls, 10 turnovers, 7 caused turnovers. So it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be interesting to see what this offense is able to do against almost the identical defense that you saw just a few months ago. 9 months ago? It'll be interesting to see what adjustments they can make and if their offense can adapt to what Colorado was able to throw at them for 2 games last year. Yeah, and I think one benefit they have versus Dylan Ward this year compares to last year is not just was in him beating the Buffalo Chaos in the PLL as well, so he's got their number, but he's not as healthy. I think he missed a game this year unexpectedly, and I don't think he's running at 100%. And I think his stats prove it. He's only 5-4 with a close to 12 goals against and 78% save percentage. I don't think he's the same goalie from last year. That's not him saying that he's winding down at all. I think there's just a nagging injury that he's dealing with that is affecting his numbers, and he's also not getting the goal support that he had gotten in previous seasons as well. So like you said, it's going to be a fun matchup, and I'm going to be watching a lot of things. How does our offense work towards their defense and their goaltending and with Ward, and how does our defense adjust to their play style where Robinson's outside shooting lasers and Zed Williams trying to muscle his way in? Can the adjustments that the Buffalo Bandits were able to do in the offseason, and including bringing in Adam Bomberry, adjust to what they were able to do? So, Phil, we went over the forwards, the defense, the goaltending for both teams. What is your score prediction for this game? Yeah, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times he's been under 10, but it is, let's see, 1, 2, I'm sorry. 1, yeah, it was 10 or under, so this will be the 9th time it'll be 10 or under. But same for me, too. Yeah, I got him 14-10. I got him getting 10 goals, but it'll be towards the end though, Phil, so it won't really matter as much. But what is nice about these score predictions, we can relax a bit, hopefully, because it's been a while. Yeah, 3 weeks in a row is very painful on my heart. But Phil, I think this is where we might have to bring out the coin. Game 13. BSC changes. You got Smith, Nanakoke, Brandon Robinson, McKay, and Spanger. I have Byrne, McCulley, Buchanan, Priolo, and Weiss. Are you making any changes to your team? I'm going to let you have Kluch. I am going to hope for the exact reason that you just described for Chase Frazier and grab Chase Frazier and release Brad McCulley into the lineup. You can put the coin away, send him off on his pasture, and maybe we'll see you another day. I'm also hoping really bad that Chase Frazier's back this week, though. Yeah, he's in a barn. He lives there. Sir coins a lot. So final thing here to go through. I know we've been a little bit long, but we had a giant award show, and award shows typically go longer. So milestones. Real quick, I didn't think Josh Byrne was going to be playing, so we have to address this. Last game, Josh Byrne passed Rich Kilgore for 6th place in points in Buffalo Bandits history. Congrats to him. 6th place, top 6 player, unbelievable. Dane Smith is just 6 points away from another 100-point season. He's just an incredible human being. Ian McKay, once again, is 3 points away from 100 for his career. He'd be the 36th member of the Buffalo Bandits to have 100 points in the black and orange. Dane Smith, 3 shots away from 1,500 for his career. He was 12 last week. Got it down to, he shot 9 times and got it down to 3, so 3 more times. Chris Cloutier, 2 loose balls away from 200 for his career. Steve Priolo is 2 caused turnovers away from crossing Chris Corbeil for 4th all-time in NL history. If he does play, and based on BSC here, I'm really hoping he is. Chase Frazier is 3 shots away from passing Mitch Jones for 7th in Buffalo Bandits history. Nick Weiss is 1 loose ball away from 600 for his Buffalo Bandits career. He would be just the 9th player ever to do that in the black and orange. Matt Spanger is 2 caused turnovers away from passing now the arch rival David Brock, the once retired giant on the defensive end, for 7th in Buffalo Bandits history. Johnny Tavares is 1 win away from tying Ted Cordingley for 2nd place in Buffalo Bandits coaching history. And then our annual segment with Dane Smith, currently 67 points. He now holds the top 5 seasons with the most assists for the Buffalo Bandits all time. Unbelievable. I mean, top 5, just beyond amazing. With 1, he will move into a tie for 3rd. With 3, he will move into a tie for 2nd. And with 4, he will have 2nd place all to himself. The record is 94. He is averaging 5.58 a game. He needs to average 4.67 to pass himself for the record. And for the points, he's currently at 94 points. With 1, he will move into a tie for 13th. 5, he will move into a tie for 12th. 7, tie for 11th. 8, tie for 9th. And 9, he will move into a tie for 8th. The record is 137. He owns that. He is currently averaging 7.83 points a game. He needs to average 7.33 over the next 6 games to once again beat his own record. I'm glad we have them and not like, New York Riptide, who really have Jeff Teat, he's the one that's going to, be between Dane Smith and breaking his own points record. I think the assist is probably going to go to Dane Smith, but the points overall, Jeff Teat is, he doesn't stop. Yeah, he just keeps getting double-digit points. It's unbelievable. I think he's played in like 30 games so far, and in 10 of them, I think, he's gotten double-digit points. It just doesn't stop, and he's a one-man show, and they still can't stop him. It's not fair. It's not fair. Hey, Jeff Teat, your dad did play for us, for the Buffalo Bandits. Why don't you come on over? Well, I do already have a jersey, so if I were to get another one, I would just get the white Ian McKay jersey, because I have the orange Ian McKay jersey. So that's what I would do. I do. He's been my favorite player since they drafted him. Yeah, well, you like to hurt me, Phil. You like to hurt me. Blank jerseys, I have no problem with them. Are you opposed to the blank jerseys? That's fair. I understand. I'm the same way. The only thing I'm against when it comes to jerseys is if you get a team's jersey, like the blank one you're talking about for the Buffalo Bandits, if you get your own last name on it, that's where I draw the line. I don't like it. It's just my personal, if you have it, I don't really care. It's not like I'm going to rag on you and go against you, but I'm going to silently judge you. Then you just made out like a bandit. Yeah, then you're just great. That is perfect. It really was for you. My last name is spelled weird, so there'll never be a Kenny out there. There'll be a Kenny, but they'll be missing an E. That is true. I am a Patrick. But Phil, is there anything else to this show before we shut it down? And I know it went a little bit long, but like we said, we were wrapping up an award show, and they're always on the stage telling us, get off, get off, get off. Yeah, we had a lot of build-up. All right, on our next show, we got 2 Sabres games to talk about. Hopefully, 2 victory Sabres games to talk about. We got the Bandits reaction, hopefully a win. And then, Phil, it's been a while, but we're going to sprinkle in some Bills talk. Not a lot, just a little bit with free agency and some signings and a lot of surprises coming your way with the Buffalo Bills. So thank you all for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Follow along with us on Facebook and Instagram at Buffalo Sports Collective and on Twitter at Buffalo Sports Co. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Subscribe to our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us that review on Apple and Spotify. Until next time, bye-bye.